Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about The Invitation. It is a American horror thriller film that came out in 2022, August 26. It is directed by Jessica M. Thomas and it is written by Blair Butler. This actual movie is actually inspired by a book called Dracula, and that was written by Bram Stoker. So a little bit of history on that. Just in case you guys wanted to know. The story basically follows a girl who, after her mother's death, meets a long-lost family member and goes to a wedding that she was invited to, where she actually uncovers a lot of dark secrets about her family and her past. The only reason why I knew about this movie was because I saw the poster one random day. I literally saw this poster and I was like, oh my gosh, like this girl's wearing a wedding dress. Okay, I like the vibes. It's very dark academia, and I love dark academia type of films, you know? So I was like, okay, wait, this is kind of a cool, like, vibey type of film. And then I saw that Tom, Mr. Captain Hook's son, Hooker, was in the movie, and I was like, wait, I love this man. We're gonna first start off with the characters. We're gonna start off with Evie. Evie's our protagonist. She is a beautiful, honestly, girl. Like, when you see her, you're like, oh, girl, you're very pretty. Evie works a part-time job. She does catering for like local party events. On her way home, she picks up a DNA test because she wants to know more about her family history. Ever since her mom and her dad died, she really wanted to get closer to other family members. She did the Ancestry.com, the 21andMe test, and she found out all of the history that she needed to know. She basically gets contacted by this man, Oliver, who claims to be her cousin. I don't know if that's true or false, but that's what he claims. So yeah, he is from Europe, I'm thinking England, and he is pretty much friendly when you get to meet him. No complaints, no notes. He's honestly just like there for the good vibes and the fun times. And he's like, wait, oh my gosh, you want to know more of your family and more of your heritage and more of your history? Why don't you just come with me to Europe and you meet your other family members? And she's like, well, and then he's like, all paid, free, and then it's like the bass drops and she's like, yes, I'm not even gonna lie, that is how someone would get me. If somebody was like, oh, you should come to a wedding with me, I'd be like, well, all expenses paid. I'd be like, yeah, well, actually, yes, I will go to England with you. I will go to Hawaii with you. Like, yes, pack my bags, I am there. So I understand why she would say yes. And you know what? He doesn't really look that unfriendly yet. Then we meet D. Villy. But, you know, I honestly didn't hear his name because the first time I saw Thomas come onto the screen, I was just like, Thomas! Ah! So I honestly really did not pay attention to what his name was because I just kept using his actual name. So instead, we're just going to call him Didi for the purposes of not wanting to mess up the pronunciation. Now, could I have just looked it up? Maybe. But this is my video, and I'm going to do things my way. This is Evie's love interest. I mean, he's Thomas, so no notes. Love him. Now, this is two other ladies we meet on the crazy ride. So she basically arrives to Europe. She is like upon this huge mansion. She's like, oh my gosh, like, who are these people? Meets Didi, aka Thomas, and she's like, hi. Hey. Oh, you own this mansion? Oh, why? Why, yes, I am single. Actually, yes, I will put my bags down, yes. And upon meeting other people at the ceremony, a lot of her other family members, she also meets these two lovely ladies, Victoria, spelled with a K, and Lucy. And I love Lucy a lot. Victoria, you know, between the both of them, Lucy's definitely the nicest. Victoria's a little bit of a pushover, but you know, no notes also because she's really pretty and I like really pretty people, so she can stay. Then we have our last introduction, which is basically the woman who dies at the beginning of the movie. She does commit, so you know, that's not great, but yeah, she lived And that is what mattered. Now that I've introduced you to every character, from the little bit of a description, I want you to guess what this got on Google, IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. What do you feel like this movie got? Just from your initial impression. I'm gonna let you guess. Okay, now that you're done, was it 31% and 5.3 out of 10? If it was, that is amazing. You deserve a cookie. Go get one right now. If it wasn't, and you aimed higher, that's very respectful of you. If you aim lower, that's also, I see why you could do that too. So I want to start off with saying why this movie failed, okay? And I actually liked the movie, so I think it's a crazy kind of like realization for me to be like, I really did like this. But you know why I liked it? It was because this movie is only bad because it should have been a series. I truly believe that this movie had a lot of potential. I just think that it was too rushed and it needed to at least be a limited series with at least 6 episodes, every single episode being 50 minutes long, 50 to 40. I just felt like this was, like, the plot is so basic, right? This girl goes to a different country. She falls in love with this guy, you know, in a mansion, and crazy abnormal things happen in this freaking house. And then at the end, and you're supposed to explain all of those little details in an hour? No. I really do believe that this movie could have been successful if it was a series. If this was a Netflix original 6-part series, the world would have ate this movie up. Like, I'm not even joking. This would have been a 10 out of 10 in my head, but it didn't happen. So, unfortunately, we need to get into this movie. So, she gets there, right? She goes in, she meets all of her family members, meets this really old guy. I guess it's supposed to be like her great-great-grandfather or whatever. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you came. The family missed you. We all love you. And then, all of a sudden, you know, she gets escorted up to her room and she starts having really weird, like, nightly experiences. She just is terrorized by this, like, weird creature, and she wakes up in, like, distress. Like, not even just, like, regular, like she is in distress. And during the time of, like, them aiming up to get to the actual wedding, we see all of these, like, scenes of these maids going missing and them being, literally them looking up at the ceiling and then them just being taken away. Like, they're just gone. And you just hear screams and they're just like, ah! And then cut to breakfast. It's like, okay, what's going on? So then, you know, during all of that time, Dee Dee and Evie are getting closer together and they end up really gaining a really good bond. And then they go back to her room, they do their thing, and he's like, will you marry me? And, like, because she thought it was fake, she was like, yeah, sure, like, whatever. And then we get to this big dinner event. He buys her a dress and everything. She is looking flawless in that red, not even little, like a full-on gown. She is looking flawless as ever. And then we get to our first plot twist. Okay, ready? Okay, number 1. Dee Dee is a vampire. Who would have freaking guessed? So Dee Dee is a vampire, and these people basically, like, all of these people who claim to be her family, they could have been, I don't know, I don't think they were. They brought her here as a, pretty much like a sacrifice, like an offering to Dee Dee the vampire, for them to, like, not be messed with, you know. I guess all of these families owe Dee Dee for some reason, but, you know, Dee Dee's a vampire, so he's probably been alive for a very long time, which means that a lot of the past generations of these rich people's families have had stuff with Dee Dee. But it also seems like the whole community around the mansion are all a part of making sure that Dee Dee is just happy and gets his 3 wives, which, you know what? That's a community. That is strong community citizenship. You know, you got to clap for it. You got to give it something, you know? Okay, remember how I mentioned that he needs 3 wives? Can we guess what plot twist number 2 is going to be? If you guess that the other 2 wives were literally Lucy and Victoria, you guessed correctly. So Evie's gonna be the third wife next to Victoria and Lucy. And they're gonna all be 3 wives, and they're all gonna gain immortality. And mind you, we learned this at like the 40-minute mark. Maybe like 35. And how much of the movie we have left? 20. 20 minutes and 15 minutes? Wait, 45 minutes? How are you going to explain this all in 45 minutes? It's impossible. Like I said, should have been a series, but sue me. Anyway, it looks like I'm literally on drugs. I swear, I only had a ginger ale today. Plot twist number 3. Evie's grandmother was the girl who was going to jump in the beginning of the movie. So the reason, I don't know if it's necessarily important that they had someone of the descendant of Evie's grandmother be the person that Dee Dee, aka Thomas, had to marry, but I do know that they picked her and they were like, oh my gosh, this is literally Evie's grandmother's child. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Evie's grandmother's child's child. We gotta take her. So, they recruit her. I don't really feel like it necessarily matters that that's a connection, in my opinion. I think it maybe was a little bit more in the story, but again, they probably explained it in 2 minutes and I just could not take it in. Evie's grandmother was also, there's like 2 maids in the story. Well, there's a maid and there's like a housekeeper, because I don't think they call maids butler. There's like a maid and a butler, and basically like the maid helps Evie get out of the situation after she finds out that Dee Dee's a vampire. And she's like, this is what I should have done for your grandmother so long ago, but I just didn't because I was scared. And I feel like I need to help you because your grandmother was such an amazing human being. Which, you know what? That kind of ate. And then number 4. Oh, well, I already talked about this, but they need Evie to unlock immortality. So basically, if he marries 3 wives, I guess it like adds up into a ritual, and that ritual, I guess, grants him immortality. So as long as he's alive, not only does he get immortality, but all 3 of them get immortality, because for some reason they need it. I don't know. Before I talk about the ending, because you're like, wait, wasn't that, no, that just all happened in like, what, 40 minutes? That, all of that stuff, literally all of those reveals happened in 40 minutes. Is actually kind of crazy. So first off, let's go back to, okay, basically, the plot twist just ain't plot twisting. Because for one, there's not a lot of time to make them hit, especially when they're happening like this. I kid you not, there's a new plot twist every 10 minutes. And it's like, because again, there's only 45 minutes left. There's not a lot of time. So there's a plot twist every like 45 minutes, and you're thinking to yourself, hello, why are we still here? First off, we all expected Dee Dee was the vampire, because, I mean, I don't know if you knew, but coming into the movie, I sort of knew there was a vampire, and like the way that the creature was running around, it was given vampire, so I was like, okay, he has to be a vampire, because who else is gonna be? Now, before they revealed that Dee Dee was a vampire, or that his 2 wives were a vampire, Dee Dee and Evie would be walking around, and like, you would hear quick movements moving past them, and she'd be like, what was that? And he'd be like, oh, like, don't worry, like, it's nothing. I originally thought that the plot twist was gonna be all of these people were entrapped in like vampires that was not Dee Dee or the wives, and that they needed to get a bride as an offering, and Evie just happened to be the bride. Or they're like just monster creatures, and they were gonna use Evie as a sacrifice, and like none of them were actually vampires. I really liked it, but then I was also like, it's kind of giving the Millie Bobby Brown movie, and that didn't really eat, so maybe it wasn't a good idea. I don't know. I was like, but I really thought that was gonna be a really cool idea, because if you are under the perception of Dee Dee's definitely the vampire, then finding out that the vampire is like a completely different creature, that kind of hits. Like, and then it just looks like, oh, Dee Dee, you're a weak man. Thomas! Evie's grandmother, again, I don't know why that's a storyline. I just don't feel like it matters that much. So I guess if she really is a part of their bloodline, maybe, and this is probably what it is, maybe they needed somebody who was physically in their bloodline, like the rich people that were giving an offering to Dee Dee, aka Thomas. Maybe they needed an actual person from their bloodline to get married to Thomas, because maybe that was like a part of the ritual, or I don't know, guys, I don't know, but that's what it seemed like. And then they need Evie to unlock immortality. Why do they want immortality? I don't know. I think the appeal is just immortality, but I wish it was like immortality for world domination or something. Like immortality for this or that. Because for me, it just felt like these are a few characters that I miss just before we get to the ending again. I miss the best friend. The best friend is actually a pretty cool character. She's giving stereotypical black friend though. So some of her lines just don't hit as much as I feel like stereotypical black people best friends usually, like their lines usually sort of hit, but I just felt like hers didn't, so I didn't feel like mentioning her, and she wasn't really that important towards the plot anyway. So yeah, her. Then the butler, and then obviously the maid who was like, girl, you need to get out and I'm gonna help you get out. Yeah, because they put Evie in a coffin and everything. They're like, girl, you are now a vampire without a bite or without anything. They literally put her in that coffin and they were like, girl, you're locked in here, you're now a vampire. And she obviously is having a panic attack. I'd be so claustrophobic, I think I'd just die on the spot. So let's go to the ending. The ending is so interesting. This all happens in about 10 minutes. So basically, we get to the ceremony. She's getting married because, you know, as she tries to run away, obviously she's caught so many different times. Girl, this girl's caught like there is no, like there is a tomorrow. This girl is caught like there is a tomorrow. Like there is second chances. Anywho, so yeah, she gets to her wedding ceremony. She gets bitten, so she officially becomes a vampire, but you don't actually become a full-fledged vampire. And I guess you can lose your vampire abilities, or you could become human again if you don't take actual human's blood, which is, I guess, a very important fact to know. So what does my girl do? She gets bit. She looks around. She's like, who am I gonna bite? Who am I gonna bite? And then she attacks Dee Dee and Thomas, and she attacks him and throws him in like fire, I think. And then she's battling out with Victoria, and then Lucy's like, you know what? Actually, I am the nice character, so I definitely shouldn't be fighting you because you're the protagonist. So I will fight Victoria. Thank you. So she fights Victoria, and so now it's Lucy and Evie against Victoria. Obviously they win. You know, Thomas is like, you could have had everything. You came from nothing. You didn't have anything left. You don't even have parents. And she's like, bro, chill the frick out. Chill out. Who got kidnapped? Who got enslaved? Who got bitten by a freaking vampire? Yeah. You're acting like you went through a lot? Chill the frick out. Do you know what kind of week I had? Chill out. And then he dies. And so does Victoria, I believe. And then, I don't know, Lucy just, I don't know, I guess she runs away or something. I'm not really sure. Yeah, okay. Then she gets out. She's not a vampire anymore because she didn't drink any human blood. And all is right in the world. And Oliver, until the end. And Oliver is like, yeah, don't worry, like, she's good. Like, I checked up on her. And then, like, it insinuates that, like, Evie and the best friend went out to hunt Oliver and like, attack him for what he did to her. Which, you know what? Fine. Whatever. I don't care. And that's the end of the movie. Do you understand why I said this movie needs to be a series? Like, generally the idea of it is not that bad. And honestly, I don't hate the plot twist enough. Like, it's really giving Vampire Diary plot twists in my opinion, so I feel like I'd eat it up nonetheless, even if they were mid. But it just did not need to be a movie. It needed to be a series. Like, especially if you're not going to be a franchise, because there's literally no way to make this a franchise. I mean, well, I guess, but no. So basically, what you needed was a 6-episode series on Netflix, and I kid you not, you would have blown the charts away. I actually feel like it's funny because, like, obviously, like, you'd probably come into more interesting problems, but I feel like it wouldn't be as bad because what I felt like I was lacking was explanation for anything. Like, full explanation. I feel like they just were like, this is what it is, and you're gonna eat it up or you're not. And you know what? I do respect the movie for being that way. I might even read the book and make another video about it. Who knows? Like, that actually kind of sounds interesting. I don't know. I just felt like I left it and I was like, huh? You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I was like, oh, you're walking the plank. I actually, like I said, I actually would recommend everyone watch this movie. If you like the Vampire Diaries, watch this. The reason why is because, like, I generally feel I had a great time watching this. Like, it was giving Vampire Diaries. It was giving, like, the originals. But the pacing is just awful. Like, the pacing is just so bad. But if they redid this whole entire movie with Thomas and with the actress who plays Evie, I'd eat it up. I'd eat it up. And they make it a 6-part series on Netflix, I'd eat it up. Yeah, I would. So yeah, I guess that's all I'm asking for Jessica, who directed the movie, and Blair, who wrote it. Please make a series out of this film, because I know it would be a 10 out of 10. So yeah, my final rating, I didn't even write it down. Like, I didn't even put it anywhere. I'm going to think about it right now. I'd say a 6 out of 10. Yeah, I'd say a strong 6 out of 10. Please watch it. I love this movie. End of the story. I love this movie. Okay, bye guys.